So now you've painted all the armor, base coated it Cachatan green, and now it's time to lighten it up, because before you do anything to it, I've already started on this model, but if you look at his backpack, well, since there's green around, it kind of brings out the green in it. It looks almost black, because it's a very dark green, and then you've washed it, and it comes out looking almost black. And that's a good thing, because it's really gonna like bring out the difference between the recessed areas. So now what you're gonna want to do is heavily dry brush it. I mean, like, wipe off paint. You do want paint still, because the more unprofessional it looks when it's dry brushed, the better, because it comes out blotchy and it gives a really like grimy, dirty effect to the model. And what I use to dry brush is camo green. So basically go over all the armor parts, trying not to hit the flesh with camo green. And if you do hit the flesh, you know, it's okay. I would say probably wash the flesh again and then just hit it with another bleach bone. So that's what I'm going to do to these two models. I already did that one, and I will finish on this one. Alright, next step. So, got the camo green dry brushed onto the models. Very ugly, if possible. The kind of more blotchy and bad the dry brushing job, the better. And now I'm going to go back to all the blood areas, and I'm going to dry brush them with blood red, just on the lips and like top creases, raised areas of the blood, to give it some depth. So it should have a couple of grading from, you know, the deep recesses where it's washed scab red, which is really dark, to a scab red, to a highlighted blood red. So it looks really nice. And then I'm gonna start painting all the metal parts. As you can you may be able to see, I started on this guy, his flamer, his little breathing apparatus that I green stuffed. I'll do the trim on the shoulder pads, and I'm just going to base coat that in this really cheap brown that I bought from Michael's, called Burnt Umber. You may have seen it in my other videos. Really good stuff. I use it for my terrain and my browns. So that's what you're going to be doing. I started on the base, just gave it a coat of the brown while I was waiting for some washes to dry. And so when you get all your metallics and everything highlighted and painted, we'll come back for the next step. So you've base coated all the metal in my crappy, cheap burnt umber color, brown, dark brown. I don't know what the equivalent to Games Workshop is for a dark brown, but a dark brown is what you need to do. And then what you're gonna do is lightly to moderately dry brush all the metal with I use chainmail, and the reason I do this is because I think that the chainmail, being a lighter, more reflective surface, when you do wash it, which will be the next step, the wash like shows itself on top of that more than it does the bolt gun. It's just the same. It's the same thing as if you wash something that's white, it comes out a total brown color. But if you wash something that's dark, it doesn't really show that much. So the lighter metal will show sort of the dirty, grimy brown of the Devil in Mud wash a lot more. So that's what I'm going to do now. I've already dry brushed all the metal, the shoulder pads, the gun, this guy's respirator, and my second model. I'm doing two at once. The shoulder pad, the gun, and now we're going to wash it. And after you wash it, you may need to wash it 1, maybe 2 times, but I promise you it looks great. Okay, so now wash is dried on the metal, looking kind of rusty. Play around with it until you find that it's the right mix of shininess and dirtiness, so that way it doesn't look brown, it doesn't look freaking metal, somewhere in between. And now I will teach you how to finish off that blood and irritated areas. And I do this with a glazing medium, same thing, about, I think we bought it for 87 cents, same company as the crappy paint, Michael's Special. I've heard of people using the water effects that you get from GW, but that's a lot of stuff to buy unless you want to use it for water effects, just to do some kind of blood effects. So I find this works just as good. Same kind of idea. Basically what I do is I just get some on my brush and then I dab it into the recessed areas, and what I want to do is leave a little pool of white, because this stuff is white, and I want to be able to see a little pool of white where I want it, so that way it looks like there's actually blood sitting inside of the wound. And that's pretty much it. Fill up your wounds, they'll get nice little sheen to it, finishing touches on the model, and that's how I make my Nurgle models. Thanks guys.